All right, I'm going to tell you a couple quick stories from the field to give you a sense of the breadth and depth of the kind of the problems that we solve. One of the things that has to be thought about is innovation. We're working right now with Nike, and they have a role that sits between the people who design the shoes and the people who build the shoes. And it's called a developer. And the role is very much a liaison hub role. And it has everything to do with taking the creativity and turning it into the practical. And there are people in 9 different countries doing this job, and we need them to be consistent with each other, and we need them to bring as much innovation and as much process as possible, and we're deconstructing that and working with that. We're also working with executives. If 40% of your employees are about ready to retire, 65% of your leaders are about ready to retire, am I right? So many of you have a big situation on trying to get the executives to transfer their knowledge, and we almost never do this very well. Usually we say, well, you got the job of vice president of engineering, of course, you'll be fine, because if they hired you, you must be pretty good, right? And yet that job is unique to every plant. There's certainly common themes, but it's unique to every plant. So the role we did was with recently was with an Army, the head of an Army base that does research and development. And he'd been in the job for 15 years and running the show very successfully, beloved by his team. And we had to figure out, what is it he does that makes him useful? There's a lot of stuff he does that we don't care if he stops, but some of what he does is useful to us. The role he plays in the industry, the role he plays with our customers, the role he plays with the leaders on the team. So what is it that that leader does that we want to be able to copy? What about capacity to take on major things? Like, is anybody going through a major outage, like replacing a steam generator or something like that, once every 30 years? And so who's going to be ready to take that on? One of our clients builds oil rigs that float on the ocean and send miles of cable and tubes down into the ocean floor to extract resources. And they've got a contract to build 7 more, and they need to be able to poach from a team that's already pretty stretched to take on more work. Anybody had that situation before? You got a team that's already fully stressed, and you have to ask a lot of them to leave and go do something completely different. And so you got to be able to look at your risk relative to that. We have also a lot of people who are actually thinking about things a little bit further out. One of our clients is the guy who picks the sugar for the next chocolate at Cadbury. And so everybody says he's the guy who picks the sugar, but his is all about relationships. His work is all about the vendors he works with, the suppliers he works with. Do you have anybody like that? Somebody who, the reason why they're good at their job is not because of the job title they have, it's because they know how to pick up the phone, and they know who to twist and who to call. They know how to expedite something when the part needs to be machined and built, and we have 2 days to do a 4-day job. And so a lot of our experts are all about the relationships. It's nothing about what it says in their job description, it's about what their relationships are about. And then there's the question of whether there's a right way to do it. Now, we have a client who's invented and is building a heart valve that does not require open heart surgery. It's kind of cool. It goes on a catheter up your leg and it replaces your native valve, and that's what it looks like. Well, that fabric is actually hand sewn with a needle and thread. And so a lot of this work is about how hard you push and how hard you squeeze. And they're doing it under a microscope. It takes 20 hours to build 1 valve. Do you have any work that is nuanced like that? It's in the wrist? Yeah, so that the wisdom and the tacit knowledge is something that you really, literally, you have to know how to tap the dial to get the right data out of it. And when you do the walk down, it's about what you're looking for and listening for and feeling and smelling, those sorts of things. So we want to be able to get at all of that information.